in a twinkling of an eye. At last, the trial.
Hey, Prof. Yeah, I hope you don't mind if I crash your party here and kind of throw my own 2 cents into the ring here. I'm sure everything that I say in this slideshow you're already well familiar with. So I guess this is kind of the for the benefit of just kind of getting some of the stuff off my chest that I've wanted to say for a while. Um, you asked this great question. What does it mean that Jesus is a life-giving spirit? And I want to engage this question actually and throw my own 2 cents in the ring too here. And before I do though, let me just say, I don't really want to attack anybody's faith or try to shake. This is not done in the spirit of trying to shake anybody's faith. I mean, when I lost my faith, it was one of the worst things that ever happened to me. I wouldn't wish this experience on my worst enemy, let alone any of my friends that I have here on YouTube. So. The purpose of this just to kind of characterize what exactly real faith is. Okay, so let's proceed. Paul really doesn't talk about his resurrection experience very much in his own letters. But nevertheless, Paul is the only person that we have in the New Testament who claims in his own voice, writing with his own, pen or by his own agent, saying that he actually saw Jesus Christ after he was resurrected. So let's delve into the letters here just a little bit and see what he has to say about it. The closest he really comes to explaining what it was like himself is in Galatians 1:11. Let me just read here. Now I want you to know, brothers, that the gospel preached by me is not of human origin, for I did not receive it from a human being, nor was I taught it, but it came through a revelation of Jesus Christ. But when God was pleased to reveal his Son to me, I did not immediately consult flesh and blood. Now, if you listen very carefully here, it's almost as if Paul is claiming Jesus Christ is not a human being, right? This was written very close to the resurrection of Jesus Christ, but already Jesus Christ was being exalted here. The humanity of Jesus is definitely being downplayed here to the point where when Paul sees Jesus Christ, he's not even saying that he's talking to a human being here. And he's definitely saying it's not flesh and blood. He's pretty much explicitly saying this was not a bodily encounter here. And that's about all that Paul has to say about what his resurrection experience was like. So let's go to Acts, right? Now, I want to make an important part here. Okay, the author of Acts, we might as well call him Luke, was a very meticulous historian. We don't have many places where we can check Luke's out with other historians, but where we can, he checks out very accurately, actually. It's kind of impressive. So, Luke is, the author, Acts is a source which we should really take seriously here. The problem is, okay, Acts describes this resurrection experience in 3 different places, and they're all highly contradictory with each other. Let me just walk you through them here. Okay, so first place is in Acts 9. All right, in verse 3, a light from the sky flashed around him. Verse 4, a voice says, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? I am Jesus. And verse 7, the men who were with him stood speechless, for they heard the voice but could see no one. Okay, so in Acts 9, this is definitely it's a somewhat subjective experience. There's no body there. There's a voice that they hear. And notice the men are standing here. All right, so let's go on to the next thing here. In 22:6, Paul is actually being quoted by Luke here. Paul says, as I drew near Damascus, a great light from the sky suddenly shone around me. So there's a light here. I heard a voice, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? He said to me, I am Jesus. And verse 9, my companions saw the light, but they did not hear the voice. Now remember, in the previous one, the companions did hear the voice. So it's kind of iffy here, right? Finally, my favorite one, Acts 26:12. Paul is speaking to the king Agrippa here, and he says, I saw a light from the sky. We all fell to the ground. Okay, now remember, the first thing here, the companions aren't, it's only Paul that fell to the ground. The companions are still standing. And I heard a voice saying, in Hebrew, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? it is hard for you to kick against the pricks. Okay, now you can imagine being a adolescent teenage boys reading this in Sunday school. It's kick against the pricks is one of those little phrases which you just wonder why it was put in the Bible. And I always wondered this myself. Why in the world? What does kick against the pricks mean? And I never noticed until today, actually, this little in Hebrew thing here. Why is there a big disclaimer here saying this actually happened in Hebrew? Jesus wasn't speaking to Paul in Greek here. Well, let's probe this a little bit here. All right, kick against the pricks. Well, Paul, King Agrippa, Luke, Paul's patron Theophilus. Okay, all these people had one thing in common, which I don't have. Okay, they all had a classical education. I do not have a classical education. I have a master's degree in electrical engineering. I have a technical education. My education prepares me to be the servants and work in the service of aristocrats. The rest of these guys actually had the education to prepare them to be aristocrats. Okay, so this wouldn't have been a big mystery to them at all. When they heard this word "kick against the pricks," they would have immediately known what it was. I just found this out actually a couple of weeks ago. Paul has Jesus quoting the playwright Euripides here. Okay, this is the play, the Bacchantes. Okay, the play is about the appearance of a new god, and Dionysus has disguised himself and is talking to a king, just like Paul is talking to a king, and it is saying here, "I would rather do him sacrifice than in a fury kick against the pricks. Thou a mortal, he a god." So yeah, amazingly enough here, Jesus actually was a big fan of Greek drama. Well, what's going on here? Okay, let's talk about the character of these sorts of religious experiences here. Now, Paul claims to have a religious experience, which he describes as a revelation in Galatians, which is a revelation of Jesus. Now, what are these like? Religious experiences, they're not self-interpreting events. Okay, they're not like self-evident, or, I mean, something happens to you when you have a religious experience. But in order to be interpretable, in order for your mind to understand it at all, this experience has to be filtered through your own set of cognitive concepts, categories, paradigms, all this kind of stuff, right? Otherwise, you just wouldn't even, it would be a complete mystery to you. It would be pure randomness, right? So, Paul is the only author we have in the New Testament who actually speaks in his own voice, claiming a resurrection experience. And, as Paul describes it, okay, he has to filter this experience through the categories he has. The closest thing he has to what he experienced was this play by Euripides, when he was talking about the appearance of a new god. And Paul definitely describes it as it's not. Paul did not experience a body. Paul did not experience flesh and blood here. Okay, rather it was a revelation. It was a experience. He saw some light, heard some noises, and it was filtered through the lens of a pagan, classically educated mind. So the upshot here is, when Paul claims that 500 people have seen the resurrected Jesus, this by no means that they saw a body. Okay, they may just have seen light and heard voices like Paul did, right? And the Gospels, they were written generations later than Paul's letters, and their accounts of bodily resurrection are just flatly contradictory with Paul's understanding of what the resurrection is, okay? Like I said, same disclaimer here. This doesn't mean that, your faith is wrong or your religion is wrong or this kind of stuff. I just really want people to understand the character of religious experience and the way that the divine, if it comes in contact with humanity, the way the divine comes in contact with humanity is through human concepts, human understandings, and things like this. So, have a great day.